Welcome, everybody, to Let's Go Pulling. My name is Jason Schultz. We've got an exciting show for you here tonight. Got the Outlaw back-to-back Diesel Superstock champion. And really, when I feel like the whole world knew who Doug Meissinger was after the very first Pullers Championship when he came down there with old Scrappy and he won Friday night and Saturday night. And we're going to get into all that tonight. Of course, got the Larry Richwine. You know how people say the Ohio State University. I want to say the Larry Richwine. So.
I got no connection to the Ohio State University. I live in the Indiana State, and I've been to college twice. I dropped off each girl, paid for it, and left. Okay.
Fair enough.
I want to know is how does Doug feel? Weren't you building the illustrious Jason Schultz a tractor, and then bam, he goes ahead and buys one, Doug? I mean,
I called Doug and asked him if it was okay. We talked about this, Larry. I don't do anything without checking with this man right here. So
I actually said thank you because we were still waiting for the chassis. All we were doing was thinking about it. So it was all good.
So okay,
it saved me a ton.
Before we dive into my buddy Doug Meissinger, and it is Meisinger. I want the whole world's gonna know how to say your name right, Doug, after tonight. I want to talk about.
All I know is it saved Doug a lot of headaches by not having to deal with you any more than he already does.
I want to give a quick shout out to some of our partners, Lincoln Diesel Specialties. They have for all you do-it-yourselfers at home. They have everything you need for a diesel truck, and they have some Black Friday specials still going on through the 29th. Some holiday shoppings, and the owner of this is Brent Meyer, the Injected Funds Pro Stock, who won the Grand National NTPA points. So we help with Lincoln Diesel Specialties on social media. Don't forget, if you want to win tickets to Louisville. And this Louisville is the only pull in the world you actually need tickets to, right, Larry? I mean, does Bowling Green sell out, Larry?
I believe they do on Friday or Saturday night, yes.
So they'll turn people away?
I don't know they turn them away, but I know they sell out as far as seats. I think they actually end up the session with selling standing room only tickets. So
head over to fullpull.us and you make the predictions who you think is going to get invited to the farm show, and whoever does the best job is going to win free tickets to the farm show. And then this toy right here was built by Blake Ott. I bought one of these, and I'm taking this to PRI with me next week. And if you stop by and see us at our booth, I think our number is 8814. We're going to be on Lucas Oil Stadium, the floor. And we're going to be down there with my new tractor, the Hybrid Redneck. Did I say that right? High-Tech Redneck. I got so many different names going through my head what to call that tractor, Meisinger. I don't even know what to call it anymore.
You know what, Jason? You know what, Jason? I've heard you call a lot of names too. So hey, it's fitting, man. It is fitting. Oh, look, I'm starting to warm up because I had the heater off for a while. Oh, look, now Larry's in the cap. Looks right, but if his nose gets cold, he's putting the stocking cap back on.
Is that your NTPA hat?
No, that's a Hoosier State hat.
Oh, okay. Good.
HSTPA.
We're in booth 8141. Anyway, stop by the booth, and we're gonna have a opportunity for you to sign up and win this. And we're also gonna have other great stuff from like Lincoln Diesel Specialties, Corsa Data. Who else is Kawasaki Parts Warehouse? Outlaws are gonna be there. Jeans Machine. We're gonna be down on the floor there at Lucas Oil Stadium. And then for you pullers that got your initial invites, and I got a text message, so I'm gonna call them out right now on the screen. You need to get signed up by the end of the year, or you're going to lose your spot. Well, Brent Yarin texted me, and I got to give a shout out to these pullers. So if you hear their name and you know their number, tell them to get over to our website and get signed up and pay their $500 before the end of the year. Otherwise, they lose their spot. So I'm supposed to call out Jeff Hurt, Tyler and Bruce Slaw, Adam Bauer, Renee Theobald, and Brian McDonald in the mini rod class. And then Jake Zering, the Claypools, and Lane Thornton in the four-wheel drive mod class. So
they have to pay you $500 to apply for the Pullers Championship?
No, that's their entry fee for the Pullers Championship, Larry.
And how many hooks is that? I mean, I'm just trying to do some math here quick.
2 nights, both nights.
Okay.
Yep. And they get everybody gets their money back. This is our registration fee, and this is given back to them in their points and their money. But it's how we know that people are going to show up. So it makes us happy.
A performance bond sounds much better, so much better than an entry fee, don't you think, Doug?
A little bit, but
I can say from now on, Larry, I will say performance bond. So
I'm just saying,
our very own.
Who am I to be critical?
Our very own beermoneypullingteam.com. I don't care. We're having a special on all of our merchandise, everything at beermoneypullingteam.com. Use coupon code CYBER25 now till midnight and save 25%. So
Wow.
and I'm not wearing this just because they beat Nebraska. I'm wearing this because they're the Big Ten West champions. I'm just throwing that out there. Not picking on you, Russ. And it's yellow, and I don't have a Scrappy hat, so I'd take care of my boy Doug. So.
Well, you didn't let him build you a tractor. You don't get a damn hat.
He's actually very happy that we bought the high-tech redneck Larry.
Oh,
I
would be too. I can just imagine the phone calls he would have had to endure. What do I do now, Doug? Yeah.
No. That tractor is never going to be at a tractor pull without that man, ever.
Well, that'd be good. That would work.
So let me set the table, Meissinger. You and I have been friends for quite a while now, and we started talking, and you started bending my ear, and you said, "Hey, I heard you want to build a pro stock," and you said, "I think you should build a diesel super," and I said, "Well, I'm scared of a diesel super," and then we've been talking back and forth, and that's when we decided to go diesel super, and we had the chassis coming, and I ran into the great Mike Beck at the Enderley this year, and he presented an offer to me. I called you, and you said, buy that tractor, Schultz. And next year, Scrappy and High-Tech Redneck are going to be trailer mates, and they're going to travel throughout the Outlaw Nation. And when we're not at an Outlaw poll, you'll see us at a Grand National NTPA poll, trying to keep up with Ross and all those. I'm going to try to keep up. Meisinger's already proved that he can keep up with all those guys. So, Doug, welcome to Let's Grow Pulling. I'm excited you're my friend. I'm excited to spend a lot of time with you with the new tractor. And Larry, if you want to chime in whenever you want, I'll just mute you if you talk too much. Okay, Rich Wayne?
Well, I'm naturally shy, so I'll
Yeah.
No, I've seen you run, Doug. It's very impressive. You do a good job, man.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's show a nice video queued up. I think this is Lamar's, Doug, where they have the pork chops on us with a glove.
Oh yeah.
Doug Meisinger. The tractor's name is Scrappy.
Runs good.
It's a mean one. So Larry, you don't know Meissinger like I do, so I kind of want you to take over. And you and Doug are going around pulling way longer than I have. Just you guys have fun. I'm just gonna sit and listen, okay?
You believe that, Doug? He's going to sit and listen.
Yeah, just kind of throw you right in the frying pan.
Yeah. What do you want me to talk about, Jason?
We could talk about Schultz. It's fine. He's going to.
You know what? We could. I really wasn't impressed with him. He's growing on me, but one of my first impressions, he showed up with a shirt that had my face on it, and it said, "Larry says smoke machines suck," and it's a true statement. But nevertheless. And then I go, oh, is that a copyrighted thing? My image, and then he shows up with several T-shirts after that. Oh well, I'm going to give you a bunch. I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had my lawyer on speed dial, but no, he coughed up some shirts.
That sounds just like him. It sure does.
Oh, it is him. Yeah, I could prove it, but I think I had witnesses. I think the Intracork of Cloverdale. I think Julie Neal actually heard all that. Yeah, I have witnesses. But anyway, yeah. But no, I was kind of excited after I seen you run once or twice this summer to have you build him a tractor. But the tractor he's got that he's getting, even though he's scared to drive it, he's going to let his dad drive it. Ha ha. He's just too scared to get on the damn thing. And his dad, he's had Jason as a son. What more has he got to live for? He can drive it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Well, the least he can do is blow it up, which we hope he doesn't, because Jason's already done that to his.
Right.
Yep.
And he'd probably have you fix it for him. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Matt was going to be on tonight. I got a shout out from Jason Brammer to tell Matt. Jason says Matt's one of his favorite announcers. Jason.
Matt has to work. So he's an auctioneer and he lives in Illinois and he comes to Wisconsin on Tuesdays. He's got to get up super early in the morning. So, and
Okay.
He was bummed out that didn't get talk to Meissinger, but his real job, because I pay you guys so much to be on the show. You can see where everybody else went because I don't pay them either. So I'm just
Well, I
burning
still
through all
have
you for free help. So.
the way the wind blowing tonight. I'm pretty sure I'm glad my lawn chair is lashed to the mailbox post waiting on the check. But but don't you run primarily all Outlaws, Doug? You don't run much anywhere else?
Yeah, pretty
That's what I
much.
thought. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's even a travel for us to get to the outlaw shows, being out here in western Kansas. The Blagrave boys are basically 400 miles straight south of us. So
Right.
anyway, we got to drive. And
I know
outlaws,
they say they said they drive 10 or 11 hours to get out of the state of Texas, and then they come on to the NTPA events they attend.
yep.
Well, I found out today that I'm either going to Nebraska to the Nebraska Bush Pullers banquet, or I'm going to Badger State. Are you going to Badger States, Jason? Well, then why would they want me? Yeah. Oh, wow. Facebook user said Jason better get an ice pack. Oh, that's mean.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah. But you know what? Nobody deserves it more.
Doug, start at the beginning. How did you get into pulling? Talk about your dad and your brother, and I want to tell everybody that whole story. It's good stuff.
So back in the 60s, when everybody was jumping on the sleds, out in Colorado, Dad was pulling clear back then, M5s, and then moved up to a G1000 Mini. It was just the only thing that we ever really went and did that was fun. We were farm families. We didn't go to the lakes and go here and do this or do that. And then he kind of got too big farming and quit pulling. And my brother kind of got back into it with a light mod. And one thing led to another. We come across a 1066 International that was basically what a 8500 Limited Pro is today for sale, that we bought and started playing with it. And I'd always had a fascination with super stocks and more turbos, and that's kind of what Dad was running with the G1000, other than it never got over one turbo with it. But we had Lyle Nelson from Bolus, Nebraska, that would come out here all the time, and it was just kind of a motivation to do that eventually. So we moved the 1066 into a 4-charger super and ran it for a few years. Then
Doug, what were the names of some of those earlier tractors so I can look for pictures of them?
Kryptonite was mine.
Is that a knock on Goodwin?
That was before his existed.
Oh, okay. So it's before Superman?
Well, Superman was a little sore at us when we first showed up at the Outlaw Polls. Because we were running pretty much just in the Colorado organizations out west and the Nebraska state. And we showed up the Outlaw Polls, and it took a while before Matt would ever even talk to us. He was pretty standoffish about the Kryptonite deal. So once we told him the tractor's Kryptonite before he ever knew you, then he warmed up a little bit more. But we still had fun with it. We had to paint the motor in the tractor fluorescent green just to agitate him, and we'd leave little green rocks and over his tractor. I think every time his son Mason would show up to a pole, we'd give him little green rocks, and I think he'd put them in his pockets and took them home. We'd set them on the nightstand. But just for fun.
Absolutely.
We all started this for fun, and then it got serious.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
it got super expensive, and then here we are. Yeah.
Yep. And that was the deal with that tractor. We pulled in the Western Farm Show in Kansas City with it, 3 or 4 times. And we had a first place, a second place, a third place, and totally last. We split the block. And the year I split the block, I said I wasn't fixing it. We was going to do something different. We had the chassis sold before we ever left the city. And through the winter, my friend Mark Almer calls up and has this wild idea. I got enough parts and he has enough parts and a chassis that we need to build a tractor. So that's how Scrappy come about. And then one thing led to another. We're having too much fun with it. So we just had to buy the chassis from him, and keep running it. So it's a.
Oh, I know it runs like a scalded dog. I know it runs good.
It took a while to come up.
Trav's watching. Doug, he says, curious to how you like that center clutch pedal. Great idea, but not sure I can learn the change. So
Yeah.
shout out to the Bone Twister. He's a Hawkeye. I'm pretty sure they're Hawkeye fans, aren't they? The Schlabos from Ringo, Iowa. I would think so.
Yep. Yeah. I think it purely depends on the setup. You know, the way Mike's tractor runs, I think a guy can get away with it just fine. A setup like mine, it'd be a little bit difficult to use because I use a lot of the brakes just to get it off the line, just to get it to come to life. So that's where, like, we get into tracks where we have a lot of slope coming off of the starting line getting going, but we don't have enough load on it to get it to really come to life. So we're trying to use the brakes and everything to do it, and it just makes it a little more of a struggle. So a center brake, that anything we'd work on that type of setup.
I've noticed that. Like, I really watched at Rockwell last year at the starting line. Doug, like Steve and Travis and those guys, as because of that downhill run a little bit, I really saw them standing on the brakes to get the big tractors to load up. Talk about that with the Diesel Super a little bit. My dad found that out the hard way when he drove the new tractor for the first time up in Hillsdale, and I remember you and Mike Beck and Matt Goodwin were kind of picking on him and saying, "This isn't no damn 4-1, Schultz." That was kind of funny. You could tell that story a little bit. So
Yeah, we was pretty rough on him. I think he was a little upset with us by the time the night was over.
he
All right,
can take it.
he's a big boy. But yeah, just with the size of the turbos and everything everybody's running now and the 540 cubic inch, it takes a lot of RPMs just to even get the turbo spinning, but you got to get the pump to open up. And when you start slipping on the clutch and start loading the sled, if that sled rolls out easy on you, you have to get that motor to come up. So you got to use the brakes and everything else you can to try and get that motor to come up to get everything to light. So it's a little bit of a finesse deal that you get figured out over time. And some of those tracks, it's just a little bit more difficult.
Larry, what was the reasoning behind having that little downhill run over the years for the sleds?
Vaughn likes to go 100 mile an hour and stop you in the last 10 feet.
Okay, there you go. There's a lot of honesty. So
I mean, well, that's the only thing Larry's got to offer is honesty. But no, Vaughn likes a ramp, and some of the other sleds get caught onto it, and there's virtually no draft on that chain when you first take off. I mean, you carry the pan the first third to half of the track. But Vaughn uses the sled as a parachute. He pops the parachute the last 10 or 15 feet, and you see how far you can drag it. But I mean, well, Dennis Goodwin coined the phrase race sleds.
Yep.
And yeah, and I mean, I've heard him say it countless times, but the race sleds, it's they like a little downhill, little slope. And I actually heard Vaughn one time at Chapel Hill, I think it was 2 years ago or 3. He goes, "We need to cut that down." He says, "I really can't hold the sled without having all the brake lights come on." I mean, but it was too much of a downhill grade. But it's basically so you go fast and hard. But I understand what you're saying. It's hard to get that tractor lit if it's going to roll on you like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they have a diesel super and that's buy and part, change their theory on that coming off a ramp.
Yeah. Or he might put a weight up between. He might put a weight up between the rails like he does for 2-wheel drive and get some draft on that chain.
Now, see, that's what
some
sleds that we will pull will actually do that. And we put on such a better show and get such a better hole shot coming out because it will actually load the drawbar. And
I get it.
It doesn't take 30 or 50 feet to get it to come to life. It's right out of the gate. And you'll get up and
change
perspective. So it's different concepts, but you can pretty much figure out the guys how it's going to be. Like we were at Sandwich this year, the early session, I wasn't ready for it. Wasn't on the brakes near hard enough. We had to get the sled cleared out on the bottom before I could ever get it to really come to life. And we went up some gears and come out a little different on the second session, but we lost 2 rocker arms, and so we did it on five cylinders. So,
Well, you did a damn fine job on 5 cylinders.
oh yeah, I told O'Good when I was coming after him, but he keeps telling me he had a broken injector line too, so we was both on 5, but I don't think it broke till right at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, you both had very good passes at Sandwich. I know the announcer there. Jason knows the announcer too. He thinks that announcer at Sandwich gets away with crap he can't do.
Yeah, we heard a lot.
They would light me up. They would light me up on the internet if I said one of Larry's jokes. But he's earned it. He's earned it. They like, don't bother the crazy guy in the tower. That's kind of what they say. So.
Well, and Jason had to phonetically send me how to say your name because I butchered it the first time. I apologize.
I did. I was watching the live stream. So I sent Meissinger and just spelled it out for him because I care about you, Douglas.
Yeah,
So,
I did the hooked on phonics thing when I was a kid.
Yeah. Just think old German name, It's not your singer, it's my singer.
Well, so is Rich Wine. They spelled it different when they came across the water. It was Wein, but it's pronounced the same. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know what generation changed it. And I don't know why they stopped in Indiana because it's colder than hell right here. They should have turned left and go south.
Right. Yep.
Oh,
I'm going to play the diesel super class in the background here while we chat. This is from YouTube, Thurston Pulling Photos. Ryan Thurston does a good job there, and this is a video. I'll turn the sound off. We'll keep chatting, but this is the super stock class. Good one won both nights, right, Doug? And you got first, and did you get second and third, or what'd you get?
Yeah.
It was second and
so this
fourth,
is Matt.
third or fourth. I can't remember.
Okay. So I want to get into Doug and Larry. And Larry, you know the history of it as well. Not enough people have been next to a super stock. I mean, pro stock is all the craze now. I mean, it is. And I'm not just saying this because I bought one. Everybody that's watched the podcast over the years knows I've always loved diesel supers because that's what I grew up watching. Ernie Roth, the Iron Elk, John Klug, the Red Baron, Dennis Goodwin, Matt over the years, and many people as well. And and Doug, you're my new favorite. Travis is now number 2. He accepted his role. He knows that now, but we're still from Marengo. But
he's still
what
right.
What was the transformation from? When did super stock numbers kind of start to die? I guess just for the lack of better terms, because obviously I want to put a bigger limelight with our social media following and the fact that we have a super stock diesel now. And Doug, you and I've talked about this, going to different polls and taking the tractors out east to hook some. What year did you see that, Larry or Doug? And why do you feel like when pro stock, was it just I could get a lot out of one charger? I don't want to fight multi-charger setups. Well, how did this kind of all happen, guys?
Well, everything runs in a cycle, up and down cycle. And pro stock's got to be the hot ticket the last few years ago. And when they split the super stock alcohol and diesel apart, that limited the numbers they were to draw from. And it's so hard to build and keep a multi-charger diesel running. I mean, it takes dedication and basically full-time mechanic and machine shop work to keep the damn thing going. And it's an excellent show. To me, it's the top fielders of the smokers, but it's an impressive class, and it's hard to maintain. It's hard to build one that's competitive because the water's so deep. And I think right now it's mostly expense and time it takes to keep them running is what's limited them to being built, more of them. I think. What do you think, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, pro stock started off as a cheaper budget class than super stock. And you watch over the years, and you watch all these classes, instead of guys migrating to the next class and moving up, they keep allowing those classes to increase power, bigger turbos, more cubic. Right. And so when you go to your top tier classes, it kills the numbers there. And you're going to start seeing it in other places too, not just diesel super, because nobody wants to move up.
Oh yeah.
They just keep changing the rules, and we want bigger turbos and we want to do this. Had those limits been left there, you want to go bigger, you want to go faster, move to the next class. It's pretty simple. That's what I see. from our perspective as to what happens.
I
You'll see it today in every single class. Everybody wants a better turbo. Everybody wants a better head. They want to go bigger. They want to make more. And that, how can you have, 8, 10 classes, all the same part, all the same setups, because that's where they're going to,
Right.
but I just,
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
how did we get to 680 cubes in a pro stock?
I don't know. Somebody must have been in love with John Deere big blocks. And
Yeah.
that all happened on my watch of NTPA, but they just kept bringing it and they just kept approving them and they just kept growing.
But that's how we get to the point where we're at today, is because
Yep.
we ate enough's enough, and which
And
I'm
I
glad
know when the
they've-
super stock guy is limited to 540, the alcohol guys said, well, they never want to run with us again. And then you get a Colin Ross coming along and say, okay, I can run with him with the 540. And he
Right.
went and played open super as well. But I mean,
Yeah, but even to this day, if anybody was still on the 540, I mean, what kind of show could it be? Look how some of the
Right.
5.4 alcohol motors are running. You tell me you can't make a
Oh,
40
yeah.
alcohol motor run respectable today with the turbos and the technology? Sure you can, but it's that same deal. Nobody wants to take a step back. Everybody wants to keep progressing more and more. So.
Hey, Doug, let's kind of segue into High Plains Performance. Can you talk about your shop and what you guys do there? Trav's asking.
Yep. So yeah, we are a machine shop, but we're basically a diesel engine shop, primarily over-the-road truck engines or big ag tractor motors. We really don't, we don't do transmissions, clutches, nothing else. We are just strictly an engine shop, and we do all of our own machine work, and we can go from the heads to everything in-house. The only thing we're not able to do is grind a crank, but outside of that, we can do everything else in-house. And then we do quite a few tractor blocks and getting them ready for guys to make whatever they're going to make out of them. And then we do a lot of repair work. Some of the guys just fixing things that are messed up or that's not right in them. Yep, that was 4 Ford blocks that went out the door. So that's a little creation that we with to pull a hub and a timing gear off of an ISX Cummins crankshaft.
Really?
Nobody has a tool for it, so Cummins tells you to cut it off, or basically has a tool to break it and pull it apart. So we're like, then you have to wait 6 months because they're back ordered on hubs. So
Sure.
we had a little bit of a brainstorm, and Carl looked at us. I tell him over the phone what I want and send him some drawings, and we made one and it didn't quite work, so we made another one, and we got a system that works now. So we'll have them available for sale when he gets caught up with a little bit. So
Awesome.
yep. No, there's a
What's
ship.
there, Doug?
That's cylinder heads. When we get cylinder heads in, them are new aftermarket heads, so we'll get them in by the pallet. So that was just a shipment that showed up one day. Yeah, that's just everyday carnage we see.
Yeah, I know.
We
Normal
live,
stuff. Yeah.
we live real close to the Rockies out here, and some of these guys that are not familiar with running in the Rockies, they tend to like to come off the hill with a little bit too much of a RPM in the motor with the jakes running, and it can make carnage.
Well, it's job security.
Yep, that's just lack of maintenance.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's a long block that we'd built that I'd actually went to Iowa. So yeah, we'll
So
build.
who's some of the guys that you run against that you do work for?
So I helped Brad Campbell in the Revenge.
Okay.
I do stuff back and forth with Almer. I'm probably going to be doing a block for him, I think, this year. So I don't do anything for Travis or none of the guys, but mostly the outlaw guys we do stuff with. And then some of our work ends up some of the 4-1s and the Grand National Pros and some other places, but they don't know that we're actually doing work. We're doing it through the suppliers. So
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those suppliers don't really machine or fabricate much themselves. They are a supplier. Yeah.
Yep. They're just parts pushers.
Yep. They're dealers. Yeah. I understand.
Yep.
Huh.
Yep.
If you're just joining us, talking about Doug Meissinger, top left of your screen, your back-to-back outlaw points champion in the diesel superstock class was Scrappy, also won the Polish Championship in 2022. Travis won it in 23. We're going to have a little rematch here in 24, May 17th and 18th. Larry Richwine, of course, one of our gracious hosts. And for people who don't know, I bought the high-tech redneck. My dad's going to be driving it a lot because according to Larry, I'm scared of it. And
Yeah.
Doug and I are going to partner up, and Doug's going to take care of the high-tech redneck for us, the Schultzes, and he's going to haul it around, and we're going to go to as many polls as we can and keep those crazy things running. And we're going to make super stock pulling cool again, popular again. We're bringing it back, Meisinger. We're bringing it back.
It's always been cool. People just didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. No, seriously, like I don't know. There's a generation that really hasn't seen diesel super stocks, and
No.
you know everybody talks about the pro stocks and the womp, and obviously we're very guilty of that. It's one of the most popular classes we post, but there's going to be a lot more diesel super stock content on the Beer Money Pulling team.
My nose got cold.
Larry, did somebody turn the heat off, Larry?
No, but the wind picked up, and my office is in a metal building. Dang it! and the story, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Jason's hot. He's undressed, and he'll be naked here in a few minutes. But I left the shop like 4:30, and turned off the heat because I forgot this is Monday night. And I come out here about 45, 50 minutes ago, and I go, damn, the dog was with me. The dog looked at me like, what are we doing out here, Dad? And so it's cold. And so the heater just doesn't catch it up. The light meter's spinning its butt off. I hope Jason gives me a raise to cover the expense of this podcast. And yeah, it's I'm going to light the cigar and hope it warms me up, by God. Just saying. By the way, Doug, I'm an only child for a reason. They smacked my mother and said, don't you ever do that again.
There's another T-shirt. There's another T-shirt idea. So.
I won't finish the statement by saying my father, God rest his soul, said she didn't much. I'll shut up. I won't say that.
If anybody's got any questions for Doug or comments for Doug or Larry, please type them in the comments, and we'll put them up there on the screen. And it's all good. It's all good. So.
Yeah.
Doug, what's a winter like for you? Does your business slow down in the off season a little bit, or do you do a lot of pulling stuff, or is it pretty much?
It doesn't really change. With summer, winter, it really doesn't matter.
Okay.
Probably see a little more pulling stuff this time of year than we do during the summer, but it still comes in. It's just a constant flow, and it's just like everything else. You have your week or two that's a little bit slower, and you're going to get caught up, and then you show up Monday morning, and that was out the window because you're a month behind already. So.
If you guys don't mind, I'd like to really dive into this. Why diesel supers have the numbers have dwindled, and we've seen pro stock numbers go up. It's something really, really important to me because, again, I think diesel supers are awesome. Not knocking on pro stocks, but at all, because I think it's a great class. But like, Larry, do you have a ballpark number on this? What it costs to build a diesel super today versus a pro? Have you heard any numbers?
I see Travis's comment, and I'm not sure what the cost difference is. I mean. And I'm sure Doug could chime in on that, to build a 680 cubic inch motor that'll spin a 6-inch charger and efficiently do it. It might look cheaper to build a 540 with 3 or 4 chargers, but I'm sure it's not. I'd say as far as to build one and maintain it, I don't know that there's much difference in it, really, is there, Doug? It's just a matter of how bad you want to work on it. But I mean, the pro stock guys work on it just as much as the super guys do. Travis,
yeah, I feel like that's.
To be honest with you, I think more than we from what I'm seeing, a lot of these big motors, depending on how hard they're running them, they are not staying together like ours. They're changing motors or doing a lot more work on them. And then you go to the big 6.2, 6.4s, 6.5 turbos, whatever they're running now. By the time you buy the intercooler and all the parts and pieces, and to get the better stuff, they're spending every bit as much money as we are. And then everybody running the same thing. You know, they're all fighting, and they're spending money how many times a year over the latest and greatest turbo. They don't put a turbo on and run that turbo for 2-3 years. You know,
heavens no.
I don't even have to ask Travis. I know he's probably run the same turbo setup for several years, just like I have. I know a lot of the guys have. We might run this setup where we feel it's out. 2-3 years later, we might make some changes. If we're still keeping up with everybody, we'll just keep running them. You don't make a change until you feel that you really need to. And so the main, you know, for once we have it built, which the initial build is, it's just a matter of doing maintenance. And you figure out the parts and pieces that you need to change every year. You need to change every 2, 3, 4 years, and you just keep working through them. But unless you have a catastrophic blow up, it's really not that bad. But I see these pro stock.
I have to agree.
I watch them changing motors in between poles, and you know, it's to everybody to say it's cheaper class. It's not. Now, if you go back to a 5-inch pro, absolutely, those guys are. You know, I've built motors for those. You know, they might run that motor 2-3 years. May only put a set of, you know, but those guys can just go out and run and have fun. And they're
and that's pretty well why NTPA took on the 5.0 class at a regional level, especially so they could have a pro stock again. Well, just like here at Hoosier State's the NTPA affiliate for Indiana, and we just had our rules meetings and stuff this past weekend and handed out points checks, and they decided to put a 5.0 class in. We didn't have any pro stock tractors we could even offer to state level because the Chris Canes and Tim Canes, they had jumped up to Grand National, and they don't have time in their schedule or really technically come down to a state level and run for a state level purse. But hopefully that'll enhance the 5.0 here in Region 2, and maybe Hoosier State can offer a pro stock class again, because we've had call for it, but we just didn't have it to offer when everybody jumped up to the Grand National level. But
so on
some divisions you don't see a big difference, but you do in that class.
So on average, how many big pros do you have show up at a national poll in NTPA?
At a national poll, you'll never have less than 10 or 12. I mean, if you have 8 or 9, it's because a bunch of them are broke. But I mean, I don't know, Jason, you might know, or you could back me up. At least 10 or 12 pro stocks at every hook.
How many was at Rockwell?
I don't know. Jason will know in a minute. Jason's Mr. Data acquisition guy.
Yeah.
That comment was brought to you by my friend Cody McKinley at Corsa.
Cody's a good guy. If you need a data acquisition system, you call Cody. He's okay. Close personal friend of Larry Richwine.
Doug, can you see Brent's question on the screen there?
Yeah. I'm hoping he's talking about tractor pulling stuff.
He is.
And you know, really, they all just have their own little quirks about them. But as far as in the diesel super world, internationals like the 350 Chevy at drag racing, it's very simple and very easy to work with, and can handle everything we're throwing at it in a better manner, just for the geometry, the way everything's built and set up. It's kind of like the big block of the pro stocks, you know. It fits that world pretty well.
Right.
We had 12 Grand National Pro Stocks at running Grand National points at Rockwell, guys.
At Rockwell?
Yep.
Okay. Now I was just curious as to how many versus how many are out there, you know. So how many could show up and start pulling state level?
Well, NTPA numbers benefited by the fact that Kevin Masterson showed up at a lot of them this year at NTPA shows. There's 2 tractors that they haven't had for a while. I talked to Kevin the other day at the PPL banquet, and he said he really had fun doing it, but he did it because he got started like a lot of them do at Toma.
Yep.
Come out of there doing good and thought, well, I'll follow it. I mean, here a few years ago, Rob Russell, he wasn't intending to run NTPA, and he come out of Toma leading points, and he ran it all summer. I mean,
Right.
Toma decides a lot of where they're going to run.
All right. No.
Yep.
Doug, answer this from High Plains side of it and the tractor pulling side of it.
The coolest motor project, I'd have to say probably the motor that we do in Scrappy. Just what we've experimented with and messed around with it, because we kind of do our own thing. There's finally some guys starting to do what we've been doing for 5 years, and we're going to change that again on. So.
What about the High Plains side of the business? What's the coolest project you've worked on?
Some of the builds that we'll do for like some of the heavy haul trucks. So we'll build like a 17-liter motor just to handle the heavy application. So those are kind of a fun build, just a little bit different.
So what color is the block under the hood of Scrappy?
Right now, it's rust. I don't even think.
No, not the paint color. Not the paint color, damn it. You knew what I meant. I mean, what brand is the motor under the hood?
It's an International.
Yeah, I figured it was.
Yeah, it's
I figured it was.
If we could get, and I had Schultz's money, we could do a molding block that had 7 mains in it. That's what we would have in it. But,
if I had Schultz's money, I could afford heat in my office.
Yeah. But
or a dog that could at least build a damn fire. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Jeanette's saying Jeremy or Fred's, Doug, on the screen.
Yeah. So Jeremy Figgenbaum, he's one of Tyler Buckman's neighbors. He's got a probably above average truck. It's right there at the show truck level. We built a custom motor for him, and then Freddie Colglazer is one of our customers over here in Colorado, and he's got an old square door Pete with a B model cat in it that we built that's twisted up pretty good. My brother and I always hope that he forgets it's here whenever he brings it over to have something tinkered on with it. But we have to take it out and test drive it once in a while. It's pretty cool.
Sure. Heck yes. You don't want to send something out the door that's not going to run right. Check it out.
We keep hoping that he forgets it's here. You know?
Is that Jeremy's truck, Doug?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Well, give him a ridiculously high price bill one time, and when he says, Jesus Christ, he'd just say, well, we'll just keep the truck.
Well, we have, and I felt bad about it because other ones that we repowered for him, and he didn't even flinch. So it'd have to be a pretty good bill.
He's one of the favorite customers that I can see.
That's why good. when he needs something done, we make room for Freddie.
Yep. I understand those kind of customers.
Yep. He's real good to us. Yeah, actually on High Plains' Facebook page, that's Red and White Pete that's on the front page. That's his.
On High Plains Performance?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find that. I missed Jeremy's comment earlier when we were talking about the difference in Pro. The problem isn't they're all the same. The problem is they're all different. Light Pro 540, Limited Pro 640, Hot Farm 510, Pro 680. So in order to progress, you have to completely rebuild. Yeah, no, he's right.
That's got something to do with it, yeah.
Yep. Jeremy's always thinking.
Yes, he is.
His text messages are never short when he's got an idea, ever.
Well, he's not like you and I, Jason, where we just talk or say things. He actually has thought patterns and then actually thinks about it and maybe edits his thought before he writes it down.
Oh, that's a concept. I've heard about that.
You know,
Thinking
I've
before
heard
you
about
talk.
that stuff too, but I
Yeah.
actually have a seal kit ordered for the filter that's in this head, and they've sent me the replacement seal kit twice, and the O-ring's wrong, and it seeps out. I try not to talk, but I can't help.
Yep, that's the old girl right there.
That is sharp.
Nice truck.
Yep.
Do you have a lot of trees in your yard, Doug?
What are they?
Yeah, I didn't think so. I saw that picture. It looks pretty bare behind you.
You know what our state tree is out in this area? Telephone post.
Telephone poles. Kansas.
Yeah, trees
For
don't
those
like.
of you that don't know, Doug lives in Goodland, Kansas. Doug, what's the population of Goodland, Kansas?
Oh, about 3,500.
About 3,500. Does it have a McDonald's?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Okay, just making sure. That's when it's a real town, Meissinger.
It's got a state. It's got all the interstate stop and eat places. So
Fast food.
yeah. Yeah.
Holy sweet Jesus, that's the beauty of a Pete. Mark says.
Yeah.
Mark's always with Esden Lane, you guys. That's how we know Mark. So.
Yep.
Ooh, Trav's coming in. Any chance Scrappy might be in Louisville, Douglas?
Probably not. She's going to be in pieces
She's gonna be in pieces.
and waiting for some pieces to hopefully get out for May.
I hope you're there helping my father drive high-tech redneck. That's what.
Oh, we'll
my
be
finger-
there. Just
You'll be there no matter what, but whether you're there working on a tractor or not, right?
Have you got your acceptance letter yet, Jason?
So I went down to Thanksgiving and I told Dad, I said, if you get a big yellow envelope, I want you to call me. If you get a white envelope, just shred the son of a gun. So I don't know. I think we've been told maybe the first week of December we're going to find out. So that's kind of the rumor mill.
Before the first of the year, I heard the other day.
First of the year.
Before the first of the year.
Okay.
it's got a pretty good
That
chance.
would actually include the month of December, yeah.
It's got a pretty good chance how many supers will actually put in. You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's the key for me. Like high-tech redneck finished 6th in points, but if Blake Graves or Hunt or some of those legendary names put in, they're obviously going to throw more weight than I will.
Right.
So it is what it is. We'll just have to see what happens. So,
But like usually they
Jason, don't sell yourself short. You're a big deal, Jason.
only to you, Larry.
but like
The farm show doesn't know who I
we
am.
would be offered a spot where we was outlaw points and we don't ever put in, so that opens up a spot for somebody else, you know.
Yep.
And just goes down the line.
Yep. What year did they do the duel? When did they start the duel for fuels? Because high-tech rednecks had some pretty good luck at Louisville the last, I think, 4 or 5 years. I think Mike said they got a win, and I know they got another podium.
Was that 2 or 3 years ago?
I can't remember, 18 or 19. I called him the other night, and we were talking about it because Dad and I were flipping through YouTube videos, watching the Diesel Supers at Louisville. So
Yeah.
I know Trav's putting back together because I saw they had a post on their Facebook page. I think there's a pretty good chance he'll get invited.
Yeah.
I don't even think they sent him a letter. They just say, "Get on down here, Bone Twister." So, Cole Lundell, great question. What was the inspiration to go towards Minimo sheet metal when you built Scrappy? Is the Minimo a favorite brand, or was it different from the typical red and green? Good question, Cole. Coming in hot.
So that just goes back to Dad when he was pulling. He used to pull when he quit pulling, he had a G1000 that we would farm with it. And once the spring field work was done, she made a pulling tractor out of it and would go pulling with it during the summer. And then it got switched back over and went back to farming. So, and the way that chassis was built that we got from Mark, the location, we was trying to figure out a tractor that would look right where you were sitting forward on it. And so that's why we did the G1000 Vista. It just kind of looked like it would fit it. So, and you know, just like the Pro Stock class is dominated with green, the Diesel Super class is dominated with red, and just wanted to throw some different color out there.
Right.
Just, you know, And Scrappy come about because of the scrap parts from my shop and Mark Almer's shop to put the tractor together. So
Travis says, quit upgrading Scrappy. He barely just caught you this year. Brad Decker, they got a brand new diesel super out. I saw some pictures of it late in the year. That's a sharp tractor. I'll find a picture of that. But he said high tech redneck 1 in 19. So, Larry, when I get it done, do you like high tech remedy or do you like redneck remedy? What's your feeling, Larry, for a name? Because I gotta have some remedy and I gotta have some homage to the Beck family. What do you like?
No, I think it should be a high tech remedy if you're going to use remedy, which of course I wouldn't. But nevertheless, you know,
I just kicked him off the show, Doug. I can only take so much. There comes a point. There comes a point where you can only just take it so much. You know what I'm saying?
oh, I understand.
So
No,
okay,
no.
now Larry, that was your first trip to the penalty box. It's just
that's
a
my
short
first
version.
warning. Well, if it gets any colder out here and the wind keeps blowing, I'm going to give you more crap, so I'm gone. Wow. Does anyone else smoke cigars? You dang right they might. Yeah.
What are you smoking tonight, Larry? Do you smoke a certain brand every time, or?
No, well, I'm still smoking those expensive ones because I bought a box of them, and by God, I'm going to smoke them. But it's about a $20 cigar if you bought it separately. They might get as cheap as 17 or 16 if you buy a box, which I did. But no, they're pretty good cigars. Yeah, it ain't no Dutch master. Let's put it that way.
Yep. No, I like the high tech remedy.
Okay.
I do
If you
too.
like it, it's done. So high tech remedy.
Yeah.
And the high tech redneck started with Ross's, right? Mike kind of gave me the lineage of the tractor. Jody
Yep.
had it, sold it. The guy sold it to Mike. Mike sold it to a guy, and the guy didn't know what he was doing and ran it out of oil. And I think Jody got it back. And then Mike called me in 15 and asked me what sheet metal I had on the remedy. And then so it's ironic that our tractors have the same sheet metal. So that's all good. So
Yep. I think it looked good that way.
yeah. Jeanette says kids love the yellow tractor. Some fun T-shirts can be made with high remedy. Yes, they could, Jeanette. Yes, they could.
And if you had the right rolled cigar with the right material, it could be a high remedy. I'm not of that nature, but
Well, Ellison's Dill isn't bad either. Redneck remedy. You just
yeah.
Those have been the two that have kind of resonated with me is high tech remedy and redneck remedy. So
you can send the old man down to get a little R&R.
yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brad T's watching on YouTube. Is the dent still in the frame from Mark dropping the engine on it? There's a story, Douglas.
Absolutely.
You're gonna need to have to elaborate a little bit there, Meisinger.
So when this all deal come about that Mark wasn't going to use this chassis and we was going to build a tractor out of it, he had a engine block sitting in it, just trying to see how an international motor would fit in there where the Alice motor was, and kind of looking at some motor mounts and making the rear engine plate for me to go into it, adapting it to an international. And when he was lifting that block out of there, one of his brand new chains that he had shop or auction chain or whatever he had, something broke and the block fell on the chassis and kind of dinged it up a little bit. So that was the reason why the oil stain goes down over the rails on the side, just to cover up the hammer marks. So
some things you just can't buy at Harbor Freight, and chain's one of them.
yeah. Well, knowing Mark, it wasn't a brand new chain. It was probably something that was off of something else that had been patched with another something else, or it had a hook on it that he picked up something that he shouldn't have that was stretched.
Sure. I see Travis wants to know when I start my winter job, Key West conch train engineer. Linda tells me I can't afford to live in Key West, but I could if I drove a conch train, because I've got the BS that I could talk about the city as you drove around and explain some of the highlights of Key West. I mean, it's a lot of decadence and it's a whole lot of evil and it's a hell of a lot of fun. but nevertheless, but people has never been say, what's it like? I said, well, it's a little bit like New Orleans, a little bit like Amsterdam, and a whole lot of fun. So, but yeah, we're not going to Key West this year. We're taking 9 of us to Disney. All the grandkids, grandma and grandpa's paying for 9 4-day passes. It's only $8,500 for 4 days of Disney fun. And I just set it to gate and hand out $100 bills and say, now I'll be here when you guys get done. And then grandpa, yeah, but we took him 4 or 5 years ago, and our youngest grandchild is 3 now. She turned 3 the other day, and so it's her turn to go as well. But all my grandchildren, Doug, are Gettingers. They're Neil Gettinger's son, but married my daughter. So that's Neil Gettinger and I share grandchildren.
Gotcha.
But, but we're going to see Mickey and Minnie this year. But next year I'll be back in Key West for my annual December visit. Yeah, can't wait.
Larry,
Yep.
please get a picture of Grumpy the dwarf for me, like a selfie. When you see Grumpy the dwarf, please do that for me, Larry.
Well, you want me to take it in a mirror when I go back in the house and take off the stocking cap, or you want me to get one?
I need a picture of you with Grumpy. That's all I'm saying.
Well, those caricatures that the kids go, get in line to see and stuff. My oldest grandchild just turned 17, and she's in a chair, doesn't walk or talk, but everybody knows about her, Miranda. And one of the main advantages of having Miranda with us is they'll flag you on into the line. You don't have to wait in that mile-long line. They see a handicapped child, and the rest, all 8 of us go with her anyway. But yeah, I'll try to find a character Grumpy, and I'll have them take a photo with me. I took a photo with Growing Corn 2020 at Bowling Green.
Nice.
Tony Reed and Nick McCormick took it, and he goes, "Smile, Larry." I said, "This is my god dang smile. Go ahead and take the photo," I told Nick. But anyway, yeah. And the charity tractor for St. Jude's,
Yeah, did Larry? Hank Williams Jr. signed it, they said.
Yes, he did. And Tony signed it the other day. They stopped at Tony's shop. Tony Reed signed it, Growing Corn. And but yeah. And what was the guy's name last week? He was on with us.
We had Pete Penzink.
Yes. Anyway, he called me after last week's show, and he goes, "Hey, they're going through Indianapolis on probably Thursday, and if you want to go to Wasion, we'd like for you to drive it." And I said, "Well, it's Hoosier State's annual weekend of point champions and blah blah blah." I mean, we didn't have a banquet, but they had a annual meeting stuff for Indiana. And I said, "Any other weekend, I'd love to." But I didn't get to do it. But yeah, there's Mickey. There's actually, oh wow, you found Miranda. Isn't that? Yeah, that's several years ago. That's the Talking Minnie. They have one of them that actually speaks, and that's Talking Minnie. And she's nonverbal, but she loves Mickey Mouse, and she gets so animated. But yeah, I can't watch it very long. I'll cry. But they're so good to these children. Yeah, you see how animated she is, but yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's just turned 17. All 3 of my grandchildren are November children, and all their birthdays are in November. And I told Bud, my son-in-law, I said, "I'm not good at math, but they're either all farm show babies or victory laps at farm show babies." And he said, "No, Dad, that's not the way it is." And I said, "You do the math." But yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's Parker. He just turned 13, and then their little sister. My surprise child is 33, and my first 2 are 43 and 40, and their surprise child is 3. So every group has a surprise child, but mine's 33. He's quite a man. But yeah, that's Miranda. That's 2 times ago we went to Disney, but Disney's a very special place. It costs a lot, but you know what?
Yeah.
When you have children like that, it's
No,
worth
it's awesome.
every penny. It's worth every penny. Yeah,
Yep.
quit showing that. I'll cry, damn it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very special place.
Okay, but I want to make you cry a little bit. So
Go ahead.
Brad Decker sent me a picture. His tractor. Here's the new tractor. It is freaking beautiful.
Cool.
Boom.
Yep.
Check that thing out. The full bore. That thing is sharp. What sheet metal is that Case IH, guys?
Isn't that their
I can't
whatever
read it. I just
series
see-
they're doing?
It looks mean.
Is that an Ace chassis when it's got the little things out front?
I don't
right
know.
there. Or no, I feel like Ace puts those on the side of the weight brackets. I feel like, I don't know,
Yeah,
what
they're on
maybe Brad's
the side of
watching.
I'm not sure if that's an ace or not.
I can't tell you for sure. If I had
That-
close up of the cage, I could tell you because I recognize every cage builder has a little signature thing that they do different.
Yep.
That thing is
I can tell
beautiful.
by the back end of them.
Yep. Huh. That's a good looking
Absolutely.
unit.
Just stop on in. Yep.
We accept visitors here at Rich Wine Garage, but they have to bring their own heat.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some visitors from time to time. Not many people travel this way, but there's a lot of people that go out to Colorado skiing, so some of them will drop in.
I'm not ignoring you guys. I want to roll through all the questions, make sure I didn't miss anything. So
Yep.
It really doesn't bother me if you ignore me, Jason. I mean, think about it. I'm just saying.
shoot. There we go. Decker's one. The plaques are originally from Ace, but we built the entire chassis, sheet metal, etc. It is sharp, Brad.
Yes, it is.
Sharp.
Very sharp.
It's a 715 quad track sheet metal. I like it. I like it.
That's cool.
What's the toughest sheet metal, Doug, you've ever had to stuff a bunch of turbos underneath?
Stock 1066 sheet. We put 4 turbos under it. That was my toughest one. So that was on the old one.
On Kryptonite?
Yep. And there were still stock hoods on that one.
Wow.
It wasn't any wider or longer or taller or nothing.
So does Trav have bigger sheet metal? Like, was it built, so it's, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. Okay.
It's blowed up a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Who was it? Was it Binder Light? Is that the word I'm looking for? Were they the ones that kind of started that, or Larry? Were they just kind of the ones that made it a little more well known?
They sold a bunch of it that was exploded. Yeah.
Okay.
Bigger.
Yep.
Larry
Larry
spent
too much heat.
too much heat. Yeah. Well, the HSTPA party is in a garage attached to my house, and it has its own furnace, and it was set on 72. The shop actually out there is set on 72. The office is not a primary heated unit because I don't spend much time here other than Monday nights. I bet we get an upgrade on that unit.
Tony Smerling, he said he's a big Poland fan. He says some pros are not planning on running the Grand National Points next year. Too much work and money. So I think it's cyclical. I think one of you said that earlier. So
Yep.
Well-
I for the 5-inch pro class to kind of start to dominate. More guys will move to it. Then Grand National will have to look. Are they going to have a pro stock class? It's like the Diesel Super or the Unlimiteds, where you have 5 or 6 tractors or 5 or 6 guys that are going to chase it and run it, or
Right.
you turn it into a 5-inch pro class and have 15 or 20 show up all the time.
Well, and right now the 5-inch class in the NTPA is just offered at the regional level. So, I don't know that it'll ever become a Grand National class, especially with the turnout they've been getting. If NTPA only got half the pro stocks they've been having regular, they'd still have a nice show.
Right.
I mean, I don't know of any class that is out of 10 vehicles there, any one of them could win. I mean, any other class usually has a couple of them that's going to shine, and if they run it all, they're going to shine. But the pro stock class is a pretty consistently deep class. And I felt for a long time it was the best class as far as big numbers and big chances of anybody winning. I mean, for the full pull thing, the choices were many when it comes to pro stock. Where you get to any other class, you pretty well knew 1 or 2 or 3 who was going to shine.
Yeah. I don't that really too much anymore, but I don't know. It seems like it's changed quite a bit the last couple of years. So,
Right.
I just got a message from Doug Borth. He says I blocked him. He can't comment, but I see his comment here. He said that's optimum sheet metal on Deckard's, not the 715. So I don't know, but that's just what Doug texted me. So
yep. I guess some of them we probably shouldn't tell, but
yeah, give us a good PG version there, Meisinger.
it's hard to really put it together. It's better to get them two sitting together and start talking. the first experience I had with that was in Spencer a few years ago. That was one of the first time Esden showed up at a outlaw hook, and Schrammix, I believe, were there at the same time. And Esden and Mark got started on the back behind the trailer, after they had their little toddy telling stories. you could sit there and just listen to them all night long, and half the crap that those guys did, most of us get thrown in jail for it today,
Oh, heavens, yes.
It just, you could listen to that forever,
That night I walked in your trailer, Doug, and Wisner a couple years ago. That was that was amazing. The amount of people who was all in there. Dagenhart, you, Esden. Oh, I can't remember everybody. Sorry.
Mark Ulmer, Scott Frankie. Yep. It was that was a good time. And your dad was in there, wasn't he? And your uncle?
Yeah, Dad doesn't count though. He's not famous yet. We're gonna make him famous, but not yet.
Yeah.
Esden Lane is watching tonight. We are going to Esden shop. We're gonna do a Let's Grow Pulling live from Esden shop. We're gonna spend the whole day. Yep, we're gonna spend the whole day with them, and get a bunch of content. And then we're gonna sit down and do a live show, and that'll be awesome. I can't wait to get that done. We're trying to get a date set right now. So
well, hopefully he'll have a handle of Crown that you can help him drink, Jason. And the first thing he'll do is pop that little plastic thing out of the top of the handle of Crown so it pours faster. So yeah.
But I can bet he's watching this when he's on Kim's iPad, because I don't think he can watch this on his flip phone.
Oh, I love it. Doug, what does Esden Lane mean to Diesel Super, the legacy of our class? I can say that now, of our class.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We have a moment. I want to have a moment of silence. Thank you.
Well, his fire suit says the King of Smoke down the leg of it, and it's true.
Yep.
If nothing else, his fire suit could talk about how many passes. And all the years I stood starting line and watched everybody come up there, big name pullers that you would think weren't nervous anymore, their foot would still be shaking on the brake pedal or the clutch pedal before they released it. And Esden come out there just as cool as a cucumber and backed up and made a pass, because there was nothing new about it to Esden Lane.
Yep.
His foot was never shaking on a pedal at the starting line, but the other guys, but yeah, different perspective. Yeah.
How many 12-time title?
There's a fat guy in a suspender standing next to it there. Wow.
Is that you, Richwine?
Of course it's me. No one else has got the guts to wear suspenders at the starting line or the belly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a neat shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of us, when he was struggling getting the tractor to run and going on, but it killed all of us, because we all wanted to see it make passes, and to see him into Rock Valley last year and walk away with it, that was awesome. I think that was just as good for a lot of us as it was for him.
Sure, it was. Yeah. When he was struggling, everybody wanted to help him, if nothing else, support, mentally and root him on, because if anybody deserves to be, when he passes and gone, the King of Smoke for eternity, it needs to say that on his tombstone. He is definitely the even though he's not much older, if any, than me, he is definitely one of the grandfathers of the Diesel Super class, and no one's made more passes down the track than he has.
No, and he's here still doing it.
Yeah.
Have left the class and went somewhere else, or doing something else, and he's stuck with it, and that says a lot.
And even when he was so sick, he still made a few passes the year or so he was so sick, and he's quite a guy. Yeah, he's something else.
Yep. And how many other pullers he used to help get down the track?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
but you never seen him working after hours on his tractor, because he'd pull it in the trailer, and then when everybody else went to bed, he'd work all night.
Oh yeah.
He might have a few adult beverages with everybody else, but he didn't say, "Man, I got to go. I got to work on the tractor." No, He'd
No.
have a few beverages, and then when everybody else crashed or went to bed, close the trailer up, and he'd work all night, and the damn thing would run like a scalded dog the next year, or the
Yeah,
next day. I mean,
I can
yeah.
relate. You know, when you get 40 people in your trailer, it's
Oh.
pretty hard to work on it.
No, when you're doing that, you don't need help. You need him to go away to help you.
Yep.
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 47 years is what Mark just posted in the comments.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's what I posted something about that the other day. I think he has more total feet backing up to the sled than a lot of your current day
Oh yeah.
total feet pulling, you know.
Yep.
And the experience. Yep. He can just
And he reads the track. A lot of the younger pullers don't read a track. They think it's power and tire pressure. But
Yep.
Esden will go out there and watch him build it, and he'll stop by every so often on the buggy and stop and watch him build it. And he reads that track. He's got enough old school puller in him that if there's a good spot out there, he not only sees it, but he'll use it to his advantage. He don't care where everybody else puts the dang sled.
Yep.
He's putting it where he can get the best advantage, and by God, he drives it. Yeah, he's quite a competitor. I don't know there's any better at reading the track than
No.
Esden.
No, very, very seldom do you get set up. You know,
No, he don't miss
we
a setup.
can make a change here or there, but very
Yep.
seldom is he ever way off.
Right. I have to agree.
Yep. And another puller, I can't remember who told it to me, made some comment about having a bad track, and Esden kind of told him, you know, there's really no such thing as a bad track. There's just a bad setup.
Correct.
You know?
And it's
Yeah.
the same for everybody. I mean, unless it's among 75 hooks in the afternoon class, it's going to be the same track.
Yep. Absolutely.
But no, he'll take every bit of that track that's usable and put it to
Yep.
his advantage. Yep.
Yep.
No.
And that's the thing that's get around to Esden and Mark, and there's a lot of similarities. Mark's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of the way you
Yeah.
don't ever hardly ever totally miss it, and
No.
things are under control. He's got like his gear, you know, you don't ever see his foot shaking. He's pretty relaxed, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But no,
Just-
there's some people that you wouldn't think their foot would quiver on the pedal, but by God, they do.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Doug, what are some of your favorite places to pull over the years and that you just really like? Is it, well, first of all, what makes a pull special to Doug and Jeanette Meisinger? Why do you guys like, there's certain pulls that you want to go back to? Why is that, Doug?
You know, Wisner's always been a favorite one because it's just the atmosphere that it has. And it's not that it's just like a giant party or nothing, but it's just where it's located down by the river, and it just kind of has its own unique setting that you don't ever experience anywhere else. And it's really nice run show, and we've just always enjoyed it. And Rock Valley here in the last few years, you know, they've changed that how they're maintaining the dirt on the track, and that track just keeps getting better and better and better. And both of those tracks at those places are, you know you're always going to have a good power track to hook to, and it's a good quality ground, and you know what you're going into when you get there, that it's not going to be a hard dry track or something that nobody's putting the time into. And so those two places are probably my two favorite to go. But just what you guys did out in Nashville, Illinois, that one's kind of right up there too. It's just kind of a unique pole of its own, where it's not actually a PPL pole or an NTPA pole. It just stands on its own, and you
Right.
get people from all over, and getting to meet and talk to other people and pull against people that you don't ever see. You know, it's from different parts of the country, just like the chain reaction guys. You know, that was a blast.
Hell fans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Being next to them and get to visit with them and pull with them and share experiences. It was a good time.
They're a good bunch. Yeah.
Yep. Yep, for sure.
Well, we never seen them much NTPA other than Chapel Hill. They'd always They'd always get invited to Chapel Hill, and on a promoter choice thing, it wasn't the top so many points, but there was one year they followed NTPA pretty good. But other than that, we just see them a few times a year, and they're good boys. They run hard.
Yeah, I gotta see him at Chapel Hill this year too, Larry. It was fun because they didn't have good luck at the Pullers Championship at all.
Oh, really?
Tractors got hurt, so
That was
but
ugly.
they said they want to come back. So
I guess I'm going to attend the Pullers Championship this coming year. Yeah,
awesome.
what I was told the other day. Yeah,
It's about time.
Jason said I had to buy a ticket, but I'm going to be there.
We give all the money back to the Pullers, Larry.
Well, that's why I think you explained I had to buy a ticket.
Jeanette Meissinger says, I like Ravenna. It's the closest to home. And the Diesel Supers, that's where we open the season next year, Doug.
Yep. That's 4 hours from home.
Yep. Like the closest post 4 hours from home.
Yep.
Yeah. Clint Tucker always says everybody wants to be an outlaw until they run the outlaw schedule.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of running.
Yep.
Yeah, when he talks about the Missouri guys. So
I learned something last weekend at the PPL banquet. They try to limit it to 14 hooks per division, and I hadn't heard that before, and that's kind of unique on the Champions Tour. 14 hooks maximum. That's I mean, it's hard to run more than that when you're far apart. You know how it is.
Yep. Yep. That was kind of different for our class also because it's just too hard to try and keep them together to make any of them. And that's one of the reasons why we like this class because, like some of the pro stocks, I can't remember which class it was last year. They had almost like 30 hooks. We couldn't go, We've got a business to run and we got family and everything else. And, some people might be able to go that much and that's great, but it's in today's world, it's pretty tough to be gone every weekend like that.
Jason, I can explain the commissary remark you just had from a Facebook user.
Yeah, that's from Mark Brinkman. Mark Brinkman.
I knew who it was from, Mark Brinkman, because in the end scene or two of Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles, when they break in the set and the guys are dancing there, and all of a sudden, they put their arm around whatever, and they say, "Screw you, we work for Mel Brooks." The one guy comes out of the water with one of the men dancers, and says, "I'm parked over by the commissary." So that's Mark Brinkman. I knew who that was right away because he always asked me, "Where are you going to park?" "I'm going to park over by the commissary." So I knew who that come from. Yeah.
So we, when we're live on different groups and pages, and the groups don't register some of the names.
Right.
So for whatever reason, yeah.
Well, that's Mark Brinkman, I can assure you. Yeah.
No, I went and looked because I'm like, he's been commenting a lot tonight. I'm like, I got to go look, see who this is. So.
It doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
No, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Well, Doug, thanks for coming on tonight.
You bet.
I'm excited to really I'm just really excited for our future in the Diesel Superstock class, and thank you for being my friend. I hope we're still friends a year from now. I will always respect you. I've told you this. I'm never gonna challenge you, Meisinger. What you say goes.
Okay, we'll see.
Tell me how that goes a year from now, Doug. Okay, tell me how that went. Yeah,
we'll do that.
Awesome. Yeah. Tell Jeanette hi, Doug. Have a good night, buddy.
You bet. See you.
See you.
Want to thank Doug Meisinger, he's my new teammate, Larry. How cool is it to say that?
Yeah,
Doug Meisinger's my teammate.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You'll never be able to say Larry Richwine's your teammate. I can assure you. I mean, God love you, bless you. God love you, bless your heart, no homo. You'll never be able to say that you're parked over by the commissary with me and Mark Brinkman. I can assure you
that. No, in all seriousness, the Diesel Superstock class is badass.
Oh,
and I want to give it more attention. Obviously, with us running it, I'm not bragging, but with our social media following, we're going to put a bigger spotlight on the Outlaw Diesel Super class. And then when we go to not that the Grand National NTPA class needs any more lights, but when we come, I think it should bring some more fans with it. And, Doug's going to put the schedules together for us. Once we come out, I think we have 12 hooks with the Outlaws, and then Doug will, obviously they got to run too. Other than that, but
well, between yours coming out and following the circuit more than High Tech Redneck really could, and if Colin ever gets the one done for Bowers, There's going to be 2 or 3 new ones there, and that consistently follow it. It'll be exciting. It was exciting anyway. There
Yeah.
just wasn't a whole heck of a lot of them. I mean, it's the survival of the fittest when it comes summertime, no matter what division it is.
Yep.
And no, it'll be a good show. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, if we can get, I mean, Larry, if you could say, what's a perfect number do you feel like in every class? Like what ideally, Larry, and Larry Richwine's mind, is it 10?
Well,
Is
that
it 12?
depends. That depends on the size of the event we're going to. At Atoma, a perfect class is 15 to 22.
Why
At
do you
Bowling
think-
Green, a perfect class is no more than 30. At a Chapel Hill, where you're trying to run 5 divisions after 7 p.m. on one track, a perfect class is 10 or 12. I mean, the problem of it is, I mean, you go to a regional level class or a regional level show, and today's fans only want to watch a show 2.5, 3 hours. They don't want to watch till 2 in the morning. And the big classes, which they don't so much anyway, but a regional show, if you get 6 to 10 at a regional show, very competitive tractors. I mean, no runts in the litter. It's a hell of a show for a regional level. But I try to think of it as, if a purse pays 15 places, you should have 5 or 6 that's just running and trying to get that last place check. And,
Okay.
I mean, so many times I've looked at the lineup with Von Bauer and said, "You pick the winner. I don't care who it is." And and of course he didn't pick it, but his sled was going to determine it. And but no, it depends on the level of the show. It depends on whether it's 1 or 2 tracks. And seriously, today's fans, there's still a few that do want to sit there all night, but 2.5, 3 hours, no more than 4 hour show, and they're ready to go home. It's just the whole system of show business, which we are in, whether we admit it or not, has changed.
Yep.
And with live streaming and stuff, people that say, "Well, I don't want to be there till 2 in the morning," and then try to drive home 200 miles, they're going to watch it live streaming.
Yeah.
And it's to me, the live stream has brought a whole new dynamic to the sport of truck and tractor pulling.
Doug Voth has the Griffin Growl, the Rolls Royce motor out with the Outlaws. Larry,
Yeah.
what are the rules for the 7,500-pound regional mod? Is it close to the Outlaw mods?
I haven't really studied the Outlaw mod, but I don't think it's too far off. The problem with NTPA, they have so many different engine combinations to qualify in that class, or limited to. They no longer can have a single engine mod in the 7,500 regional mod. They got to have at least 2, V8s or whatever. But it's, I mean, if you look in the NTPA rule book, there's so many different engine combinations, a whole page of them for the 7,500-pound regional mod. And depending on which club, other than the Champion Series Tour, PPL, that's different too.
Okay.
So but the Outlaw regional, or Outlaw 7,500, is very close to NTPI. I can say that.
Okay. I know when we were out in California for that pull, Brent Sullivan's out there, and he helped Steve Melanasio, and he's
Right.
got a twin engine tractor, and he
Right.
was going to come run some Outlaws this summer. That was their goal,
Sure.
to ramp up to that.
Sure.
So, yep. Good.
Yeah, and it's good to mix it up and have guys go pull with other organizations. I mean, yeah, there's a following for a certain number of tractors, and there's Esden Lane fans, and there's, it used to be they were J.R. Collins fans, or they were whatever they were. But it's good to see some mix up of colors and different engine combinations, and it's just a good. And with live streaming, people are discovering vehicles they didn't know existed. I mean, when you did the California thing,
Yep.
I was impressed.
That was good stuff. What are you going to be in Florida? Are you doing Ocala this year? What have you been told?
Yeah, so I'm doing Ocala, and also doing the one in April there around Easter time at
Okay.
Clay County Fair, south of Jacksonville. I'm doing those 2 for sure. And they're working on working on one a week or 2 after Ocala. It hasn't
Okay.
come to pass yet, but they're working on one. And of course, Zoewood's the week before Ocala,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah,
Isn't Zoe-
Zoewood's 2 weeks before.
2 weeks before? Okay. Is that the
Yep.
same time as Shipshewana with Clint Tucker?
Yep.
So are you going south, or are you going to go to Ship?
So I'm going to go south, and then half of our team's going to ship to sell merchandise.
Sure.
And then that's not an event that we video because we don't want to hurt Clint's live stream.
Right.
Too many people, and I'm hearing this more and more. All these YouTubers, I'm one of them. Beer Money Pulling Team's one of them.
Right.
We're putting up these full shows, and people aren't going to the poll or buying the live stream because they can watch it for free on YouTube a week later, and that has to stop because we as YouTubers aren't putting any money back into the promoters' pockets.
Right.
I know there's a few YouTubers and Facebookers that will sponsor polls, but that's going to be a culture change that's going to have to happen,
Right.
and it's going to start happening soon because of YouTube Home and YouTube TV, and I mean the amount of what you can make with your phone, hell anymore, Larry.
yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
yeah.
But I want to give a shout out to the Midwest Winter Nationals, whatsmoking.net,
Right.
January 11th through the 13th. And then we'll be in Zellwood, Florida as well, January 12th through the 13th.
Right.
And then Satsuma, Florida, February 2nd through the 3rd. That'll be live streamed on beermoneypulling.tv. I've heard there's 7 4-1s from Wisconsin and Illinois going to that poll. So Mark
Really?
Kelsey puts on that poll down
Cool.
there. And then there's a little garden tractor poll, not a little garden tractor poll. That sounds terrible, but in Lebanon, Missouri, December 15th through the 16th. We're going to go down and we're going to live stream that for free, Larry. That'll be on our YouTube or our Facebook page. So that's going to
Cool.
be fun about that. So,
Cool.
yep.
Well, then I'll be able to afford to watch that then.
Yes, you will. No, that's the thing, Doug. It is hard to beat live and in person, absolutely. But if you can't be there, that's where the live stream
Right.
can really come into play and go back and for people to watch it and stuff
Right.
like that. So, yep, it's
Yeah,
a lot
it's,
of fun.
It's a whole different fan base when you start the live stream stuff. Yeah.
It sure is. And there's a lot to learn. Racing, that's kind of how a lot of racetracks survived during COVID, Larry. I found out as I've been talking to more of these racetracks, and they do an awesome job live streaming and how they got hooked up with Flow Racing and Mav TV and all these other things like that.
Right.
They come in and they offer these big companies like this. If you got a product, they'll offer you a big number for your show.
Right.
To put off, and that's why we got to get pulling more popular, Larry. So.
Well, I know that I learned last week or whenever it was, it's CBS Sports is going to do more with PPL.
Okay.
And they've actually got a contract with some European TV networks. CBS Sports does, and
Nice.
so they're going to do more taping to air not only here but there as well. So
I know the Outlaws. We're going to do more ESPN2 next summer. We've already talked to them a little bit.
Right.
So I'm excited for that.
Right. It's a growing industry. It really is.
How long's NTPA been on RFD TV, Larry?
19 or 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they say that's the number one show on RFD TV? Did I hear that once?
Yes, I've heard that as well. Yeah. Yeah. Highest ratings. Yeah. And it's a good show. I mean, it showcases.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's established itself, and people set their DVRs if they can't be there to watch it. And it airs again, like in the middle of the night on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning thing. And then it airs on the weekend. I mean, it's only a 30-minute show, and everybody says, well, why isn't it an hour? Well, WPI actually buys that airtime from RFD, and then RFD uses it those 2 other times. They don't charge them for it. But at the same time, I mean, RFD TV show is very instrumental in the fact they've kept Case IH as a sponsor and other party, sponsors. And it's a hell of a market for it. But yeah, it's either 19 or 20 years. I could be wrong, but I'm not off over a year. So
no, it's fun. It's fun to go back and watch some of the older, those was it American Sports Cavalcade? Am I saying that right, Larry?
Yes, you're saying it right. There was some on that. We did some one show at Toma live on the Nashville network. Actually, they brought in like $100,000 worth of lights so they could do it. And I had them in one ear in my radio, one ear my headset was the producer from the live show, and they'd come back from commercial in 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and I'd fire an engine and have them idling out to the track on multi-engine tractor when they come back from commercial. That was quite a orchestrated, coordinated event because we were live.
Did they do the whole show, Larry?
Huh?
They do the whole show?
They did all one night, yeah. I mean, well, there was like an hour, 2-hour segment, whatever it was. But yeah, all the time it was on the air. I believe it was an hour. Anyway,
What year was that?
Oh heavens, I don't know. I bet Jeremy knows, or Jans, he knows.
It was
But-
on TNN.
TNN, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the national. I wonder if that's even. Is that still a channel?
No, not to my knowledge. And they did Super Bowl. They taped it Indy Super Bowl and aired it. But as far as the live show was Toma, because they had lighting trucks and everything. 93. Look at that. Facebook user knows 93.
I think that's your commissary, buddy.
Oh, Brinkman. Well, anyway, I know it was quite a challenge, and there was a lot of variables that that I had to deal with as far as competition director that you would never ever have to deal with again or before.
Dusty Rhodes was there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. Yeah, but as far as we're coming back from commercial in 30, 40, it was quite a challenge. And I would tell the guys, the multi-engine guys, when I give you the high sign, fire one and start idling the track while you fire the other ones. But yeah,
That's
it was quite an event.
Were they happy with the numbers, Larry? Like
I think
people
so,
watching?
yeah. I think they were happy with the rating numbers and stuff. Yeah. I know Mr. Shire said that everything on their end was good, and they were getting good reviews from the production company. So yeah.
That is awesome.
Yep.
That is awesome. Let's see here. Oh, that's Jeremy. Jeremy's telling us it was 93 and Dusty.
Yep.
Yeah, they're watching on one of our Facebook groups, and for whatever reason, StreamYard that I use doesn't connect with the groups. They can't come through with their names, so I was looking for them. So
yeah, Jeremy would know, but yeah,
For sure.
I was competition. I was the guy that the director was saying, okay, we're back in 60, whatever. It was quite a challenge. It wasn't too hard to get a mini or a truck out there, but a multi-engine mod, it was a challenge.
Yeah.
We
So are
come
you
back-
with your new role at PPL? Are you talking to John daily?
No more than a day between. Yeah, I talked to him about daily.
Okay.
Out of a 6-day week, I probably talked to him at least 3 or 4. Yeah, I talked to him twice today, trying to decide who's going where. There's 3 banquets this coming weekend, and Christy's got a engagement party. Her son got engaged this weekend, so she can't go to any of them. And Carl's going to North Carolina, and one or two of us is either going. Jonathan and I are going. Either one of us is going to Nebraska, and one of us is going to Badger State, and we haven't decided who where yet.
Yep.
I looked at the Nebraska one. It's only a 12-hour drive for me, so too late to book a flight because it costs more than the banquet's worth. But that's okay.
Yeah, no, don't. It's tough to fly into Madison, Larry.
Yeah, I know.
There's a few. I always end up driving to Milwaukee or Chicago when I fly out if I want to
Right.
get a direct flight or get something decent. So
Well, I'm 15 minutes from Indianapolis International, and you can usually find a flight to somewhere, wherever you want to go, but you better book early. You know what I'm saying?
yep. No, we're pumped up for PRI next week, Larry. I think Doug Borth, who's my general manager, he
Right.
said our tractor goes in Tuesday at 9:30. They slot that all out.
Do you know they're having a go-kart race around the floor of Lucas Oil Stadium on the opening day?
I heard that.
Yeah.
Heard that.
So, you might want to not park it towards the edge, the perimeter of the arena, because
I should check
they're
where my
having a
spot
go-kart.
is.
They're having a go-kart race.
Check where my spot is.
I will be headed south.
Yep, you'll be at Disney.
See Mickey and Minnie. Yeah.
No, that's good. I wanted to. Blake Ott, they pulled the Allison, the single engine mods out there with the Outlaws, the light limited mods. And
Yeah. Uh-huh.
he posted that he built some sleds, some little iron toys or iron boys or something. So
Right.
I got 3 of them. We're gonna give one away at PRI, one away at Shipshewana, and then one away at Louisville at our merchandise booth. So
Sure.
I'm pretty excited for that. And,
Cool.
but Brent Payne's bringing the new light super down. We do a lot
Right.
with GMS, so it's exciting for him, and he's helping us get our tractor down there to PRI. So yeah,
will it still be high-tech redneck at PRI?
yeah, I think for this first year, unless I'm talking to a couple potential sponsors, Larry, and I kind of missed out on, as you know, a lot of budgets are made in fourth quarter. And
Right.
I bought the tractor. I didn't plan on. I mean, I'm very happy it fell together the way it did. I
Right.
think I kind of missed out on that. So it might just look like the beautiful high-tech redneck this year, and then it might have a different look. Or you
could
just-
always
I
take
don't know.
you could always take some 4-inch wide masking tape and put a little strip and say, soon to be
Yeah.
high-tech remedy. You know, I mean, or maybe get you you've surely got some friends in the vinyl business.
Yep.
Just have them make you just a plain white piece of vinyl and put remedy on it, and then just put it over the redneck, the tech, redneck part, high tech.
Yep.
And then you have remedy.
Mike Beck would kill me. So
Well, yeah,
yep.
sure, but nevertheless, yeah. Mike Beck's an old drag racer,
That's what he's going back to.
Yeah, I know.
I think he went last weekend and bought his car. I think he said he was going to Dallas, if I remember, 2 weeks ago. So.
Well, I mean, LD Nation's got an alcohol dragster, and of course he can't. He's driven them before, but he's not driving this one. He's got a driver because before he'd always get loaded the first round. I mean, he'd get back on the trailer. I'd give him hell about it. But now I think he's second or third round, then he gets loaded. I'm just saying,
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That is awesome. Well, Larry, I think we can let's wrap it up here. So
All
what do you got? So next, so you don't know if you're going to the Badger State Banquet yet or Nebraska Bush?
I'm going to one or the other. I don't know which. All I know is I'm going to be somewhere this weekend, and as soon as I know, I'll put it on Facebook where I'm headed. Not that it matters, but I'm going one or the other. Kind of hoping for Badger State because that's only 4, 5, 6 hours away. And I looked up the location for the Nebraska Bush Pullers, and it's 12 hours away. So
Where does Carl live at?
Carl?
Doesn't he work for PPL? The other guy?
Yeah, he lives somewhere down there in that area. Yeah, he lives down there. He's dating Bill Lashner's granddaughter.
Okay.
I think it's Shannon's daughter.
Okay.
But yeah. He I think he actually lives with her, but he's working up the nerve to ask her to marry him, I think. But yeah, he's going to the Carolinas, and Jonathan's going one or the other, and I'm going to the other one. So
awesome. Yeah, I know the NPPA banquet's in Columbus this weekend.
Yes.
A lot of people heading that way. I'm going to the Badger State Banquet. That's an hour from my house, so I'm excited for that.
Right.
So
yeah.
We do a lot. We run all the Badger State social media, Facebook, Beer Money Polling Team does. We have for years. So we're still.
Well, don't you have a podcast before this one with Badger State?
Now, Down and Dirty with the Badger State Tractor Pullers. Tonight we had our announcer show. Shout out to John Stanley, Chris Clark, and Stacy Butson. And that's how I kind of got my national exposure, if you will, was working with Badger State. And then Chris Wiggle asked me to come down and announce at Mound City, Missouri. I got to work with Chris Kirkowite. If you're going to the Nebraska Bush Banquet, you'll get to see him this weekend.
Okay.
And then now, it's a lot of fun. I've met a lot of great people over the years.
I've said it many, many times. It's a family-oriented sport, and I've been blessed to meet people all over the world through truck and tractor pulling. I mean, I've been to Rotterdam twice with this job, and it's just they're just good people, no matter where you go. Truck and tractor pullers and the fans are just dang good people.
Love it.
So
love it. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up the show. Larry, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching tonight. Thank you to our guest, Doug Meissinger. And we are working on nailing down Esden Lane on Monday night that works for him. It'll be we're going to spend the entire day with Esden. We're going to shoot content all day, and then we're going to do a live show with him that night. That's going to be epic. That's what the cool kids say, Larry. It'll be epic.
Yeah, I've heard that word, but not used in my context. Yeah.
So awesome. So
I'm going to the house where it's warm, man.
All right. I'm going to show another video. I'm going to kick you off the screen. I'm going to show another video of Doug Meissinger. Thank you, Larry. Have a good week.
My pleasure. See you guys.
Love having Larry on the show. He has made it awesome. Just brings it to another level. Opened up our fan base, and I don't pay him any money, but I don't pay him enough money either. So I'm gonna get one of those big Happy Gilmore checks because he's always waiting by his mailbox. I'm gonna pay for that to get done one of these days. And I want to show. So Doug Meissinger, give me our trailer mate. He's really the person who talked me into going diesel super stock. I can't thank him enough. I think I can't thank him enough. But super excited to have him involved with my dad and I. We're really going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to show a video of him, and then I'm going to bed. So here we go.
Doug Meisinger, the tractor's name is Scrappy.